right off the bat, we're not going to be seeing Olaf. That's not a surprise to literally anyone who has been paying attention nowadays. Peanut will never get that champion for quite a while.
Definitely need a multi-step plan to answer it, and we saw that Kingzone were happy to let the Nidalee come back into Olaf in a previous series. On blue side, we get very targeted bans as ROX don't want to deal with the same old stuff when it comes to top lane Jace and the Olaf. The problem with this is, while it will mean a strong first pick, it does mean the answering picks on red side are going to be of extreme high quality. So going for targeted bans against a team like Kingzone that can also play the meta oh so well, it's a scary proposition. Camille, we'll see how high priority that will be this week. Definitely teams that do want to leave it open to QV in the second series, and even Khan in this one.
It's been moving up and up, bit by bit, and well, you mentioned it, Papa the Prophet, he's back. Camille gonna be banned out here. Don't want to see that given to Khan or Peanut.
I wonder where they will focus the first pick, because you're looking at some of the historical records. Gnar is a big one for Linderung, but not a first pick. Thinking about first picks in 80 carry roles, Xayah has been the ultra comfort for the ROX Tigers. So first pick Xayah, a possibility. Also going to be likelier with the Varus gone. So Xayah and the likes of Tristana and Caitlyn are the big 80 carries to talk about. ROX have been on the Kalista train a bit too much, and then that train has been derailed after they tried to make it work even on patch 8.4. We'll see where the reach is. Ryze and Azir, all the mid laners are up. When it comes to actually pinching champion pools, more about the mid lane and the jungle, and they will go jungle focus. First pick Sejuani against Peanut.
Yep, always an interesting choice. I mean, Sejuani, extremely consistent overall. Looks like it's Key's older brother and aunt came down to watch him.
Feels like Key might be jumping on a playmaker then. Seems to be how it goes, Valdez. Big
Look
cheer.
at this guy, he's happy. He's ready to go. He believes in the ROX Tigers.
Someone needs to. Should also mention that it is former ROX Tigers versus ROX Tigers as Peanut, Prey, and Gorilla against their old org. And Peanut will be going on the pick champion. He's going to be jumping on Skarner. I tweeted out a really great play from yesterday's Challengers games where Thresh and Skarner, I did not even realize that Skarner had the ability to ride the Lantern during the suppression. I would love to see Gorilla jump on the Thresh and try to recreate that one. We're speaking to him about the matchup, so I'm sure he's seen it as well. But with the Azir being prioritized, and do notice that Kingzone are one of the few teams in Korea and the world that will take Azir when Ryze is open. Most people prefer the Ryze, but the Azir teamfight impact is what Kingzone prize, and they take it knowing that the Ryze matchup is inevitable.
Yeah, BDD comfortable enough in pretty much any matchup. They would rather counterpick for other matchups, and maybe that's part of the reason why he doesn't shine as much this year.
And now we have the 2018 8.1 meta special of Ryze Gnar for basically winning matchups in almost any scenario. Very, very strong. Do remember that when Kingzone played ROX Tigers in the first round robin, that was the Khan Riven game. It was also the Quadra Kill Gangplank game for Khan in game one. So are we going to roll it back and have him back on the Gangplank? That was a big pick for them in their last series. We saw that amazing Chainlink barrel play in a turret dive. Does mean they're going to be on the defensive in the top side. So scaling is what Kingzone are opting into, not let that game 2 draft where they were the Super Friends trying to take over the game pre-20 minutes.
It's going to be interesting to see all the bans that we have come out here. You mentioned the Kalista, not really a big one for the ROX Tigers, or maybe it shouldn't be anymore after they haven't had much luck, but only the bottom lane has not been picked by either team, so lots of targeted bans there.
And what you expect for Kingzone is to ban one of Xayah or Caitlyn and then take the other one. Seems to be the most likely scenario with their second ban. Ezreal, the pocket pick, so we might be going into, once again, exciting territory where the word jinx can be said with optimism, and then, of course, depression shortly afterwards when she's not drafted.
You never want to jinx it by saying jinx before she gets picked.
I see what you did there.
But you already did it. We did it a lot of times, so we'll not be seeing her tonight. And Braum going to be targeted down here. Key so far 1-5 on the Braum, but definitely one of the big power picks, high tier supports left on the Rift.
See where the Thresh goes. Both supports here, known Thresh players. Key wanting to play make with family around, and Xayah will be banned. So suddenly, Caitlyn, Tristana seem like the go-to 80 carries, unless we're getting frisky, as I had mentioned. Could take support here, but usually you take AD carry and then counter pick support when you're on red side. They're actually going to go for the support, and now I start to wonder. I think they're actually setting up for a Kog'Maw potentially here as the final pick. They will go into the Tahm Kench. They need a winning lane, and while BDD's Azir is going to have some time trying to keep up with the Rise, because it's BDD, maybe he can get some semblance of lane control. They won't have it in top side, so don't want to be too liberal with what you give up on the bottom side. Full bot lane needs to be locked in for ROX Tigers, and maybe they'll just take away the Kog'Maw.
Yeah, certainly offers ROX a bunch of scaling themselves. We'll see what they'll use to protect this Kog'Maw. Kingzone maybe one step ahead of it, expecting this and taking the Tahm Kench away would definitely be one of the best ways to protect. And you can see here ROX Tigers versus KT Rolster, where they actually did 2-0 KT. Songyun definitely had a lot of fun on the Kog'Maw.
So this is going to be a self-counter pick here. If they do go for the Thresh, it's for team comp and for playmaking. You would need to gank this lane to make it work, because Tahm Kench is one of the cleanest answers to the Thresh, but they go for it anyway. So a lane counter pick. They might just end up getting stuffed by a very powerful 2v2 though. Kog'Maw was being set up by Kingzone. You can definitely pivot to the Caitlyn and have a winning lane to get them going, but you can see Prey. I think the timer run out. We'll see if they actually commit to the Caitlyn.
Oh, the change-up.
Oh.
I was going to say, we've been seeing some more Ashe and Prey, of course. You say Prey, you say Ashe in the same sentence, so they're going to bring it out again.
This guy is the most legendary Ashe player in the history of League of Legends. His Ashe arrow accuracy has been seen both on the domestic side and on the world scene as well. Super hyped to see Prey jump back on the Ashe. I'm sure he was watching Deft, shaking his head and saying, I could do it better.
No doubt. We are going to get to see Prey playing Ashe once again. A huge treat tonight. Everything else very standard, you know. Even the Thresh Kog'Maw that you don't see too often, at least more standard than the Ashe. So should be some fun here to start off with game number 1, allowing Prey to play something different.
Caitlyn was decided to be too boring. They wanted to mix it up. It gives them more range to engage as well, which they were lacking. It was only the Skarner for engage, and the best thing about Ashe is you just ult Thresh and try to kill him in one rotation rather than trying to mess around with the Kog'Maw. So engage coming through from the Ashe. The backline threat on the side of ROX Tigers is actually mostly around the use of the Realm Warp rather than any normal picks like a Jarvan to get backline access. Maybe a flanking Gnar, but unlikely. Still a very strong front line for Songyun to pop off on. And like you mentioned, we showed the KT match where he was able to do so. Now that required a mid-game donation. So we'll see if Kingzone donate over some power. But a power draft on the top side especially, the 8.1 special into Kingzone. Happy to counterpick in top side. They take the Azir when the Rise is open. And honestly, the only truly winning lane is the Ashe in the bot side. So we'll see what Peanut can get done on the Skarner.
Yeah, an interesting pick for him. He's not necessarily going to be in the face of Seongwon here, but more so looking to gang some lanes, hit 6 fast. Either way, guys, we're going to see it all happen live right now. Let's jump into game number 1. Made it back on the Rift here. Sunday to Tuesday, always just a one-day gap. It's nice to be back. And
just enough hours to make you miss Korean League of Legends, Valdez. Yes. So, nowhere I'd rather be. We're still on patch 8.4, guys. I imagine 8.5 will be hitting the LCS regions this week, but it's going to be next Tuesday, I would imagine, for us. Watching here is ROX Tigers grouping very early, trying to contest the Spire.
Yeah, nice little chunk of gold. Of course, might hurt Skarner a little bit in terms of timing if he wants to get over towards that Rift Scuttler. Whoa.
Whoa, calm down.
That's, okay. Prey's really happy he got back on the Ashe tonight.
That was almost Lissandra tier of laughing and shrieking. Prey's second most played of all time is the Ashe. 70 games, 52 and 18, almost a 75% career win rate. Was hurt from spring season last year, where he was playing when Longzhu were not one of our top teams, and they lost quite a lot of games there as their only primary engage on the team. Prey is so often the initiator with his accuracy on the Ashe, so a real treat to see it come back for the first time in 2018.
Yeah, certainly. I remember that spring. They definitely were not having a fun time. I forget who it was in the mid lane. I think it was Crash.
Fly.
Fly?
Fly.
Okay.
Currently of FlyQuest. Crash was their jungler.
Ah, right. Okay.
Recently,
At least I remember the name. That's
do.
one thing.
You got the right team, so
Yeah.
that was the important thing there. We're seeing Peanut going for some creative pathing here.
Yeah, he full cleared the blue side. Now he's going directly to the Rift Scuttler here. Speaking of which, we got an early Devour in the bottom lane. That's going to be first blood, 2 minutes, 28 seconds into the game. This is not supposed to happen, but somehow KingZone make it happen time and time again.
Trying to turn on to Khan on the top side, though.
He's just going to flash here as Seongwon. He's looking to burn his own flash. He's like, well, that's not fair if only one of us burn our flash.
Khan actually moved up, which meant that he was under turret, and if he took another auto and Q, he probably would have died to a second turret shot, so he had to get out. Peanut looking to see if he's going to be greedy when it comes to getting onto the Gromp. If he uses the Q over, he will die. He's being very respectful here, is Seongwon.
Ooh, yeah, and he's not even
Going all the way to his walls. If you're going to go for a camp, that's the one you want to go for. Very nicely done by Seongwon there. Heads up stuff, given where Peanut was last seen on the map. And Prey and Gorilla getting 2v2. I mentioned that Ash and Tom Kench would have a happy time against Kog'Maw. Wasn't expecting them to pick a 2v2 kill up at level 2, so that's a laning mistake by Sungyoon and Key. We've seen this a couple of times recently. That was their most reliable thing before, is ships passing the night.
Yeah. They're going to see each other here, getting the nice read on Seongwon. Key still sitting here at level 2. I don't know if we're going to get a replay of what happened in the bottom lane, but certainly if you're getting hit 3 times by Tom Kench, you're not having a fun time. Speaking of which, level 2 support fights in the river already, and Devour could come in here. He doesn't have his flash. Oh, he misses the lick and will not get the stun.
Look for the prediction, ended up looking silly, but cool to see Seongwon around the pressure Rise has in the early laning phase, do a bit of battle warding. The face of the true battle ward himself, the man the term was invented to encompass, which is Peanut. They know that the blue hasn't been taken after the early contest.
So much slow, careful jungling from both of these players. You can see they're reading very heavily into where their opponents are, and Peanut is going to see this leash, so he should know now that someone is in here.
Doesn't have a trinket ward to actually get vision of it, has to face check.
Oh, this is a rise in here, and the flash, or rather the smite is going to come in from Seongwon, but here's BDD trying to help him out, but it's 3-on-1 now as Peanut goes down, not able to get the kill, and the slow coming in on a BDD, the double flash, and they're going to get a second kill onto KingZone.
Seems like they were just too greedy trying to fight for the red buff, unnecessary from Peanut and BDD. Just give up a red buff, it's not important, you're all about experience towards level 6. The second kill also unnecessary. Whoever made the call to show the bravado and actually go in 2v3, they knew Khan's flash was down, and he's on Gangplank. Of course he's getting pushed in. There was no chance that Gangplank was going to rotate. They didn't have a ward to check it. Peanut checks with his face, has so many chances to disengage, and doesn't take any of them.
Yeah, I think the audio on the Skarner E can let you know when it hits a second person, so maybe he's like, yeah, I got him, maybe I can come in here, stun, and steal away the red. But as you're saying, it's definitely very risky to go in for something like that, especially when you got mid being pushed in by the Rise, top being pushed in by the Gnar.
Your problem with that is that there wasn't incomplete information there for KingZone. Usually the team that's being invaded on has to wonder. They knew exactly what was happening.
Okay, they're going to go really heavy on the Gorilla, but look at this, he's turning it around, the Devour coming in, but the Grey Hell is not enough, and Key will survive for now. Cannon Barrage will make it, and even Trey, but now Seongwon is going to be, Songin rather, is going to be flashed upon. Lava now TPing in, trying to get onto Peanut here, that Realm Warp, but Seongwon goes down, a double kill to Peanut, and finally that last auto will go over. So much action so far, Prey, he's looking for more with the Flash W, and he is going to get the kill.
Prey has so many kill involvements already. Madness on the bot side. Khan might just die solo at the top.
Looks like maybe Papa never gets a chance to talk in this cast as Khan trying to run away, but no flash, and one more will do it, and a solo kill on the top lane.
We have 10 kills in 6 minutes in Korea, of all places. But it's going full solo queue on this one. Some questionable stuff by KingZone around their own red, but they trade up heavily in the bot side. Level 4 is being surprised by a cannon barrage already being available. BDD, the only person who wasn't able to respond, does pick up some CS from all of it, but because of his early death, wasn't able to get a stinger, so doesn't really have lane control and against Arise in any single way. Somehow, support Ashe is ready to go, 1-0-4, and already has Berserker Greaves. And
unreal.
You'll notice he is not taking a page from Def's playbook. He was the first Ashe to go always into Essence Reaver and always focus on an Essence Reaver build. So what we're going to see here, here's the extended play. It was initiated by ROX, but Kingzone get the call that Cannon Barrage is up and that Skarner is coming. So stand and deliver. Gorilla knew he would die, but they were going to get 2 onto the bot side. And this goes forever and ever because we're in the deathmatch mode. 2 weeks before the end of the season, macro need not apply. How about kills?
One after another, Lava, he does TP down into the bottom side. Eventually does get punished. It's a positive trade for the side of Kingzone. But then you have Khan up here.
Meanwhile,
having some trouble. We got some action actually in the picture-in-picture, but Songyun, he's burning. Will he go down? Nope. It looks like no. The health pot is going to help him.
He gives him just enough to disengage and allow us to show our replay. Thank you, League of Legends gods, for giving us a moment to actually show a piece of action. Songyun's sticking around anyway, but just wants to pick up some lifesteal, which honestly he doesn't have. Just trying to pick up gold, I guess. Doesn't have Doran's Blade, so not going to find any lifesteal. Autoing on there. Watching the top side, as this is where Songwon was much happier earlier in the game. Around the Gangplank, who's been struggling a little bit. Ocean Drake turned on to Prey, has most of the kill involvement, so they return to this objective. Trying to find somewhere. Let's split the map. I think that's what Kingzone should be doing. Split the map. Khan is still in a bit of a rough spot. Top side is not a happy place for the side of Kingzone DragonX.
It's a really quick response here from Kingzone as Khan, he was getting frisky though, and now he's going to be stunned up, and the Sejuani ultimate coming in. That's just, again, too greedy, trying to get some of those Krugs, that extra gold. And I don't know, it just looks like overconfidence at this point.
It's definitely greed. He had his ult up in about 10 seconds at the start of the play, and then greedy trying to contest Krugs for some reason. Going to fully disengage, ult to the minion wave, instead decides to walk up and die. So just really doesn't read the situation very smartly, and his Gangplank is certainly very different to his other champions that are lane focused. And when Khan is away from lane focus, by the end of the game, we see the big barrel links, we see the great plays, but when it comes to losing the minimum, it kind of feels counterintuitive to ask Khan to do that, because getting the maximum, that's what he's all about.
I mean, he has vision of both of the players here, and he moves in to just parley a Krug and try to steal it away. It's not what you want at this point. You're trying to scale up. Look at the top lane right now. It's 83 to 53. 3 kills also on Linderong, who is having the game of his life against Khan.
On the Gnar as well. Gnar is so big for him. 4-1 this season. It's been banned against ROX Tigers very frequently. So Kingzone continuing to play as they did against BBQ. Very unsociable, let's say. No laning phases. We're fighting at all moments in the game, trying to increase the pace of the game. And this is the Arthouse team that decided to have a 39-minute first blood against Jin Air. And to me, I feel like Kingzone are good enough to set the pace of games. But right now, the pace is getting away from top lane especially, and making them make some pretty silly mistakes in the early game.
Yeah, so I mentioned that Kingzone can have anyone carry on any given day. And it looks like maybe this time it's going to be VDD's turn, as he's going to be scaling up, has the most creep farm in the game so far at 106.
That's also mentioned that Khan has gone very disrespectful in his rune choice as well. He did not go for bone plating second win. He's on sorcery, so he doesn't have any defense whatsoever. He will die on sight. This is going to be noted by the enemy team. They would have, of course, said, all right, where's the bone plating? Where's the defensive? It is so standard to go Klepto into Resolve secondary to get that extra tankiness for laning phase. Khan trying to outplay, and so far only outplaying himself.
That he is, and he's sitting here, he's behind in a lane that he's supposed to be behind in, but a couple of mistakes of his own makes it that much harder. Still going directly into Trinity Force. ROX having control of the map at this point in time. Even though they're down on gold, they're going to be able to pick up that Rift Herald and move towards the top lane.
Most of the power is around Kingzone's bot lane. It's not kills, but kill involvements, and a CS lead coming through for the Ashe. So for now, ROX push up. They play around where they're strong. Kingzone need to understand they should play where they're strong as well. The race is close, but it is won by the ROX Tigers. This organizational rivalry is heating up. 11 minutes in, it's still not clear who win. We're still at kill a minute pace, which is, again, insanity for the LCK, but insanity of their own making for Kingzone.
And ROX Tigers always with the interesting rotations. Loving to use that unsealed spellbook on the 80 carry in the past and try to rotate up towards the top side and get some advantages through that. But they give up the bottom turret and they go towards mid to hold it up against BDD, as there were 3 members rotating up onto the top side to get that first blood turret. So eventually they just throw lava down into the bottom side, and this is going to be their new setup.
It's this lane setup to allow the Kog'Maw back into the game, because he hasn't been able to 2v2 lane with any priority after all the earlier hijinks. There is the record I'm talking about. This is LCK numbers only. He's played it at Worlds and other venues, but still 59 games of Ashe in Korea, then plenty of Worlds and international tournaments. Backs away. Again, legend. This guy is the best Ashe player to ever play League of Legends at the competitive level. So very excited for that Ashe arrow accuracy, or if he's rusty, because it has been a long time. Deft last week was the first Ashe we'd had in Korea all year. So Prey's decided to jump on and show him who's boss. And the Essence Reaver build is back. Essence Reaver, Hurricane, Infinity Edge was the old special coming through from Prey.
Yeah, we haven't had an Ashe arrow just yet. Still waiting on the first one. He's sitting at level 8 so far, and because of the wonky lane setup we've had so far, we haven't had the 2v2 butt heads just yet, but this might be our first time as they make their way up towards the top side to join Sangyun and Ki.
It does mean that Ashe and Tahm Kench have to give away priority, because top lane is where ROX have set up their vision, where they've been strong. So they're giving up minion waves to coordinate with their side lanes. Not usually something Kingzone has had to do. They've had breakneck pace. They're on a 10-game winning streak. Not matches, games, but still 10 in a row for the side of Kingzone. Ever since they dropped game 1 against Afrika, what feels like ages ago. We're back in here. BDD farmed, but not fed. And bot lane, plenty of kill involvement. There's the first arrow.
There it is, right on top of that Sejuani. But look at how tanky he is. Finally, the Devourer comes in to try to save BDD, but the hook gets Gorilla. That might be 2 kills going to the side of ROX Tigers. Someone gets out of there, make it 3. Just eaten up here is ROX Tigers, having as much of food as they possibly can up against Kingzone. A couple of mistakes once again. Now we got the Rift Herald going down the mid lane.
They're fighting where they're weak. They're still fighting around the top side. Azir may be free farmed, but he's not in position to do damage because he's DPS'd out as it starts, and Gangplank not involved in the fight. Kingzone DragonX, too overconfident, too pushing. When they have scaling everywhere other than the Ashe, and Ashe at 1 item is not super powerful either. So they get punished as they should be. And ROX Tigers, we wondered when their first win would come on patch 8.4. Increasingly, it could be game 1 of this series.
Well, you talk about how much action there is and how it's non-standard, but it's Kingzone making the action themselves and not going their way. They see Sungwon here, and Prey calls it. They go for him, but
where's Sangyun and Ki is a question that BDD decided not to ask. And so he basically dies at the start. Nice little prediction on the ultimate, the living artillery to get him, so there was no way to be disengaged. Then Gorilla's exposed, and Prey doesn't have a front line to fight around, dies as well. Definitely over-eager where they are not strong, but this is something we've said 3 or 4 times. I feel like I'm on repeat, live or replay. Feels like a replay when it comes to the decision-making from Kingzone. And they need to just, once again, take a chill pill, relax. They have the Gangplank for late game. The Azir is at 1 item. But if they continue to fight when the enemy team is strongest, which is definitely a farmed Gnar and 1 item Rageblade already complete on the Kog'Maw, they'll continue to find losses in the 5v5.
yeah, you take a couple of fights like that, and all of a sudden you're looking at double QSS as well. You mentioned the 1 item, but now the bottom lane is never going to be caught by the Skarner, by the Ashe. How do you engage onto them now? You need to have a really fantastic engage when you're now behind in the game.
I guess it falls onto BDD. He is one of the reasons they went for the Ashe is they needed secondary engage. Skarner and Ashe now going to have to be using both of their ultimates to get someone, as QSS not going to be able to get both those abilities. But they do control the map to ROX Tigers. The gold lead misleading because it's Gangplank. But regardless, starting to push the turrets, trying to push the pace. Mid-game is where they are strongest, and Kingzone take it over just after 30 minutes. 3 items onto the Gangplank. But if Kingzone keep opting into fights and giving over kills, the mid-game to late game may never come.
Khan in trouble again, is going to be stunned up, and we got a big rotation. Eats the oranges, but now he doesn't have a chance. The flash comes in. They finally do get that, and they're going to pick up another turret in the bot lane with this rotation.
And he actually read that situation very well. Once he was caught, he held on to his orange and his flash till the minion wave was crashing. That's what they needed, otherwise Thresh should have answered him. Peanut trying to go in kind with a gank top side, but he's going to be spotted out by a ward put down by Lava. Kingzone looking to get their second turret of the game and start to answer, but there will be 3 turrets down for ROX Tigers inevitably, with Nara taking this one down. So 17 minutes, great pace to have 3 outer turrets down for the side of ROX Tigers.
Surprising damage coming out of these two, mostly from BDD, so they get that trade. Not half bad for Kingzone, as I feel like after that last fight, that's when you, as a team collectively, you say, okay, guys, we're playing a little bit too fast. Let's slow it down. And so far, they've been good about it. You know, Khan doesn't get caught. Good decision up in the top side. And let's see how well Kingzone can play from behind. We don't get to see it too often, Papa.
And remember, this team is not locked into first place. And in other leagues, the value of first place is not inflated like it is in Korea. Regular season first place is by far the most desirable thing to have in Korea because we have a gauntlet system. You automatically are top 2. You don't get better seeding. You don't skip 1 match. You skip 4 matches and go straight to the grand final. So they need 2 match wins this week to guarantee it. 2 match wins overall would probably do it. 3 would guarantee it. They want to get it done this week with 2 matches. They don't want to be losing a game 1 to ROX.
I mentioned it in the beginning of the broadcast, but ROX Tigers have been the dark horse team of this entire split. You know all the other big names, KSV, former Samsung, and SKT, and of course the 3 on top, always very solid, but the ROX Tigers coming in and impressing from time to time.
And we don't have a bipartisan crowd. We never do because SK Telecom are by far the most popular team. ROX doing well bodes very poorly for SKT, who already are rank outsiders. They're looking to ROX as the team to leapfrog. ROX Tigers beat Kingzone. Chances for SKT get more remote. So that's something to remember. If you're an SKT fan, because of the last 2 weeks of play, there's always playoff implications one way or the other. So for you SKT fans out there, you're looking for a Kingzone comeback.
Yeah. It's scary too because definitely one of the more inconsistent teams is ROX, but I feel like they play very emotionally. If they get ahead and they're feeling good, if they're feeling it on the day, they can take it anyone. They've already defeated KT 2-0 and KSV 2-1, so those are a couple of big teams that the ROX Tigers have history against and they've destroyed. So going up against Kingzone, we'll see if they can do it here.
But remember, we spent about 2 minutes going for a bit of place setting. Where are we at? Where's the season at? That's 2 minutes of not action on the screen, which means 2 minutes of scaling for Kingzone. They're still not in any real gold trough because Gangplank is doing his Gangplank thing. So the game is slowed down. This pace does suit Kingzone if they can continue to be in a similar scenario to sort of the Gathering Storm proc, which now basically stand out on every 80 carry. If you guys are wondering, we almost never see non-Gathering Storm on 80 carry. The scaling is starting to happen, and ROX want to increase the pace, looking for a fight around the red buff.
They certainly have the ability to engage if they want to, and someone gonna miss here, and he gets extremely low pulled in by the Skarner, and Peanut will survive at the end of it, so the jungler from ROX giving one away.
A straight victory as well, because Gangplank could cancel his teleport. As long as he doesn't die in the 1v1, Khan is able to farm as well, so that means gold in the side lane. Teleports are cancelled, Khan able to match Linderong. This time, they did not have access to the backline, so Ashe and Azir could play front to back, meaning they could just fight and damage the Sejuani rather than trying to make any creative plays. That suits Kingzone's draft, and that is what ROX Tigers cannot have happen fight after fight.
Certainly, you can never call it until it's over, and speaking of which, it looks like Kingzone want to take control of this streak. And it looks like ROX Tigers are going to commit to a fight here as the TP comes in from Lava. The hook just barely misses Khan. Could have gotten away from that one, but ROX, they will expend their TP to make sure they get this Mountain Drain.
But the TP's enough to overlook something like the jungler not being grouped and force Kingzone away. So the fact that Sejuani was coming from base ended up being irrelevant. Does mean that top lane is a safe place to farm again. Does mean they continue to at the pace of the game drag, but never ideal to give up a Mountain Drake when Kog'Maw does shred Baron so quickly.
Yeah, and it's Kog'Maw Rise too, so You're going to have a couple of cannons just firing away at that Baron if they ever get a chance.
We'll see what Prey looks like firing away in the late game, because you will note that he has gone for the trademark Prey build of Essence Reaver Hurricane into usually either Infinity Edge or delaying the Infinity Edge to 4th item and going armor penetration. And the reason why I point this out is that when Deft played the Ashe, he went for more the Bang School of Thought, which was Infinity Edge early and not going for the Essence Reaver at all. One of the reasons that Prey has always prized the Essence Reaver is the utility aspect. Your ult is on a much shorter cooldown, you stay high mana. The final fight against KSV in Game 2 that KT lost to KSV, Prey was out of, Deft was out of mana and wasn't able to do damage over the wall. That doesn't happen when you go the Essence Reaver build. So evaluating Ashe in the late game, to me, the extra utility and reliability of the Essence Reaver makes me a big fan.
Yeah, there's a reason it's been standard for quite a long time. Deft not reading the Ashe playbook, perhaps. So still sitting here for a long time. I mean, you have the items coming through now for Kingzone, even a Knight's Vow on the side of Tom Kench will definitely help out either Prey or BDD as they get into these later game fights.
Very early Morellonomicon does come out from BDD. Looking for healing reduction, relevant against the Rise, and of course the Kog'Maw. Warmog's also being cut down. Mentioned a couple times last week, but of course we don't have people tuning in every day. Morellonomicon now having the ability to have Grievous Wounds on the first attack rather than only below 40% is very relevant in the mid game against something like Warmog's. The fact that it's reliable all throughout a fight. If Azir lives the entire fight hitting 5 people, they have healing reduction the entire time, is a really massive thing. Now the buff got shorter, but if you're consistently autoing like an Azir is able to do, it's a very relevant pickup, and it's the double magic penetration spike of old with the old Liandry's and Sorcerer's Shoes.
Here we go.
ROX Tigers start the Baron. Let's see if Kingzone can get the check. They do have Prey.
There it is. The Hawk Shot comes in, and immediately you're not going to be able to sneak Barons like this as long as your Ashe is on top of it. And again, it's Prey, so
30%
he knows exactly.
30% CDR and a blue trinket. So
Yeah,
sneaking Baron against Ashe was one of the things that was always the most difficult. I wonder if we'll see more Ashe in a meta with less wards, because we have the old clairvoyance effect happening with the E. Hawk shot.
Sungwon again, just throwing a curveball to the side, and Key engaging by himself. This is not necessarily what they want. Here comes Linderong, but he immediately gets knocked up here, and now Sungwon in the back. Prey, though, he's going to be knocked down eventually, but BDD in the front trying to get on top of Key. Finally, Khan is going to make his way in here, but look at Songyun and Lava doing work. Gorilla is going to go down as well, and all of a sudden, Khan a little bit late to the party. That's going to be 4 members of Kingzone down.
And it was just a 5v4 where Khan was irrelevant, unable to do anything. 4 members alive. Are the barrels even strong enough to chunk anyone? The answer's probably no, and this should be Baron to ROX Tigers.
Yeah, the Rise able to zone him out effectively, and you can see just how fast it is. If they ever get an opportunity, ROX are going to take it. And I can't wait to see that replay. That was a crazy fight. It looked good. Peanut grabbed Linderong right before he could do anything, but it just did not matter.
And it started with a Sungwon missed ult for the second time, and you think, okay, maybe this is the time for Kingzone. Prey is caught in the middle of it all, but the difference in the play is that Gangplank does not teleport, he walks over. He gets chunked out, doesn't die. It's a big ultimate by Linderong. Well positioned not to get stunned, but into the fight. And while it's a perfect fight, largely by Kingzone, they're unable to actually fight 5v5, so everyone ends up exposed, and the Realm Warp in combat was really cool as well. So if it ended up being a true 5v5, they seemed to have the right idea to win a fight, but they didn't have the cavalry there to actually make the push work.
He actually opened up so much space for Songyun to move forward. It looked like Prey was free hitting, but Songyun was as well. And he had the presence of mind in the fight to not just hit the front line, he went directly to Prey. And with that extra range that he's got on the Kog'Maw, he just 3-shot Prey. And Ashe, we know he's definitely not very tanky. And Songyun certainly doing his job to help win that fight, and it was cool to see also the Realm Warp immediately after getting the kill to make sure they got Peanut as well.
Yeah, the front line evaporated and the Gangplank wasn't there, so there was less accountability for the Kog'Maw than there was for the Ashe. Who Sin prays, Ashe outplays, not usually in an undermanned situation, so I agree. Songyun read it really well. Kingzone set themselves up to fail because Khan couldn't find a teleport, and now the Baron buff could mean the base being broken pre-30 minutes, and that's when we said ROX Tigers was still at their big position of strength.
Yeah. Kingzone, at least they do have a surprising amount of wave clear with the barrels and the ash to help out with the volleys, but this is just an eventuality that this turret will go down. And speaking of which, Lava, he's all alone, so looks like they want to get at least one member. 4 for 1 in the trade for the turret, but at least they chop away at ROX's lead.
They also get someone who wants to be in a side lanes. They do actually make their side lanes in a little bit better order there, even if the trade on the face of it's not fantastic. A kill for a turret. The turret would have gone down, and they get mid lane turret as well. So if you're going to salvage something and also largely cancel out the rest of the Baron buff, you'd say the Baron buff defense by Kingzone was pretty on point. And they might even steal a Cloud Drake on the back end of it as all. There will be a 5th Drake spawn as we're only 27 minutes into the game.
Yeah. Doesn't feel like 27 minutes as we've had 21 kills so far. But that's just the state of the game. The early and mid game was very crazy. Let's take a look at how this happened.
I mean, it looks deceptively safe right now, but then there's Abyssal Voyage. Lava wants to go in. Ash Arrow misses, uncharacteristic, but the Emperor's Divide enough to interrupt it. Lava goes down, just wasn't respecting the fact there could be an all-in there. Again, doesn't mean the world, but it is a bit of relief for the side of Kingzone when it comes to Baron buff power plays.
Trying to use the last 30 seconds of their Baron buff, but look at that, Songyun, he might be dove upon here as all the ultimates coming in, and they get him in the back line. Now they're on the chase, the TP gonna be canceled. Linderong might have his GA popped. Doesn't really look like it though, as he's trying to get away. The Meganar, but the Skarner looks like he may just be a little bit too fast. Gonna be able to pop Peanut away and jump the wall, so he does survive, but fantastic use of all their abilities to get into that back line.
And the end of the Baron buff baits another kill over to the side of Kingzone as Songyun's flash was still on cooldown. The big problem through all of this was that the Banner of Command wasn't ready to go, so there was no ban and the base isn't broken. Kingzone stay so comically close in gold, only 1,000 gold plus behind. As we see the replay, we already saw what happens when Kingzone were outnumbered. This time, the barrels were on point. Those barrels that were tickling 10 minutes ago are starting to be ready to go. Rise cancels teleport, understands there's no way to salvage this, but crucially, ROX doesn't give up a second kill, so it's only a slight lead to Kingzone.
It's pretty incredible how they find the ability to get in there. Perhaps Songyun was just a little bit too far forward because one poke from the Azir and one barrel from the GP was all they needed to be able to have the confidence to go in on that play.
Really interesting build from Songyun. First time I've seen this in pro play. Starts off with the Rage Blade, the Hurricane, sure. If you have the strong front line, Hurricane can be the way to go. Third item, Rapid Fire Cannon on a champion that doesn't go Infinity Edge traditionally. Could go 4th item, Infinity Edge, still something possible, but the Rage Blade suggests an on-hit build. Not a Blade of the Ruin King, so no lifesteal in this build outside of the Fleet Footwork coming through from Songyun is very interesting. Sort of build where if he's chunked out by some barrels or even the Gangplank ulti, getting back to full health and topped up is basically impossible as someone wants to face check.
They're gonna face check and look at Lava going low, but Peanut gonna be forced to be devoured as ROX Tigers do in fact get away. The GP gonna be canceled here by Linderong.
They stacked CC a little bit too much to Kingzone's, didn't get the full duration. Unable to pick up the kill. That was definitely a jump scare for Songwan, who really wanted the ward, but kind of understood there was a chance he was going to be outnumbered.
Yeah.
Outnumbered comically, but not going down is the Sejuani, who delayed her build. Warmogs was ready to go, but went for the Banner of Command. Second Baron going to be heavily contested by the side of Kingzone, is working on the Mortal Reminder after the Infinity Edge. Honestly, it feels like Prey might have packed even more of a punch than Songyun, unless the front line goes AFK, which is possible. We've seen it happen already. The front line is more robust for ROX, and they're putting faith in Songyun's positioning with Flash Up, but with no lifesteal. Even the Gangplank ultimate can basically chunk the Kog'Maw down to 50% health, and then from there, anything can happen.
Certainly a very entertaining game we've had so far. Kingzone gonna come in here and get some vision down overall. You mentioned Sungwon being the one to face check the brushes. He is the most tanky, especially finishing off that Warmogs, but he is also the one that has no QSS, so if he's alone in the jungle or if they find an ability to get on top of that Sejuani, even Sungwon has got to be careful.
Meanwhile, Peanut is another one of these Skarners who can't find tankiness on a budget. Certainly doesn't go threat. Trinity Force Skarner hasn't been a thing for a couple of years. He's basically an ultimate and then slowly dies. That's not really anything else going to happen. Good news with Peanut in a fight. So I think Sungwon definitely has the advantage in most skirmishes and in face checks as well, where the amount of tankiness he has going. Locket was picked up by Key, so they've got some great teamfight options. It was much earlier into the Knight's Vow from Gorilla. Again, the AD carries largely are going to be the difference in this fight, although Azir does a pretty great impression of an AD carry with consistent damage.
Oh, yeah.
The Realm Warp in the previous fight they won was massive as well, so those are the big cooldowns and champions you want to keep your eyes peeled upon. So it feels like they would decide the next fight, and honestly, with where the game timer is at, probably the game.
Well, Peanut in a little bit of trouble here. They're going to try to engage on a Key, but mostly just disengage as they were scared about Peanut. Gorilla here in the front is going to be forced to blow his cleanse. On a knife's edge is this game. Anyone gets caught, and that might be it. And speaking of which, Sungwon takes a healthy chunk of damage in the front line, and here's Peanut looking for it. As I mentioned before, still no QSS on Sungwon.
So what happened there was that Prey ulted Key, hoping to get the QSS, didn't get it, and then Peanut couldn't re-engage with an ult onto Thresh because QSS was still available. They really wanted to get one of the QSSs down to allow Peanut to have a roll, but because they didn't, Peanut is still going to be frustrated. The tension is still there on how to make Skarner actually get a play work in the next fight. Quadra QSS now onto ROX. I think that's too many, honestly. It gives up their gold lead, going for 4. But basically they're saying Sejuani is going to face check, and Gnar really wants to guarantee his positioning when it comes to a big Gnar ultimate. That's a lot of gold spent on QSS, and Prey wants to be the one to actually blow one of them with the Ash Arrow.
Well, Kingzone looking like they're large and in charge right now as they're thinking about
do a lot
getting
of
on top of here.
That's actually a fake.
It's a fake, yeah, look at that. Unbelievable. Bringing out all the new meta strats. They're daring him to TP
It gets a teleport,
right now.
and the teleport's canceled. That was from the Rise. That was really innovative by Prey. Didn't leash the Baron, but looked like they were going for it. Still, Kingzone can't find anything out of it other than Rise's teleport, but this does mean that the side lane pushing into the inhibitor will be relatively safe after Rise did use TP.
But again, Kingzone, after their shenanigans, are going to give up control of that Baron pit. ROX coming in. They actually don't get too many wards around the area. Just looking for another pick. Maybe it's going to be Gorilla. There's that Sejuani ultimate used into the hook. They try to get all that CC down, but it's not enough to kill him. Oh, just barely. It looks like he picks up the kill after that last Kog'Maw ultimate, so they finally pick off a member.
Getting Ignite Tick and the Living Artillery kills Gorilla. Gorilla still has 35 seconds on the respawn. The damage dealers are high health, so this Baron is far from free.
Sungwon with his Warmogs. He's going to be in the front tanking this one up. And look at how fast it goes down with the mountain. And here they go. They're going to engage onto Peanut. Isn't enough. But look at Prey and BDD in the background doing all that damage.
Prey.
He's going in. And the huge ultimate from the side of BDD. They clean up 4v5. And Kingzone, with one fell swoop, get themselves back in the game.
Damage dealers are well and truly online. Prey may have died, but he did huge damage, and Azir smiles, BDD smiles, knowing that he was left unaccounted for in that fight. Khan and BDD, the super best friend solo laners for Kingzone, will take down the inner turret. Looking at respawn timers, still a lot of time, but I think they might want to turn onto Baron and 2 mana as Gorilla respawns. So watching the replay, remember that all the damage is alive, all the CC is used onto Peanut, and then Prey free hits at the start. BDD waits for his time and gets the scoop of a life. That's a scoop of the most tasty ice cream you could ever want. Getting both of those kills, they will get Baron. They're actually going to wait for Prey. That's greedy, but let's see if they actually do it. They're holding on to it. They're holding on to get Prey the Baron buff. That is some broad status coming through from the side of Kingzone. 5 Barons to them, and they're looking to end the game on their next push.
Well, trying to go for that Baron and then engaging all you've got onto the front line of Peanut, certainly not working out. And now it gives Kingzone, you were talking about scaling from the beginning, they're sitting very pretty at this point as the Azir and the Gangplank specifically are beginning to pop off. Even Prey doing a healthy amount of damage before he did go down in the front line.
This must be a tilter for ROX. Looks like they're going to end up losing this one. It did end up being an Infinity Edge build from Kog'Maw. I don't like it because of Gangplank's ult chunking through a Kog'Maw. If you think back to when it was the previous Kog'Maw iteration where he had a 5 attack speed cap but basically couldn't stutter step because of how he worked, you just kind of altered the Kog'Maw with a Rumble or a Gangplank, and he basically couldn't do anything because he wasn't being able to move in team fights. This is the sort of situation where he will walk up and do a lot of damage and then sit in a Gangplank ult, maybe flash out of it, and then die to incidental damage. A QW coming through will kill him from most of the heroes here, most of the champions on the Rift, so there's not a lot going on there unless he is completely safe. And with flash down, that safety is not there.
Well, let's see if they can pull off the miracle now, as it feels like the norm has returned to the Rift. Kingzone ahead of the pack.
And there's the Banon. First Banon of the game.
Yeah. Finally does come in. Doesn't have many buddies, though. He's all alone. Going to be hooked up. Poor guy. Never even got to be named.
Ash Arrow onto key, but once again isn't able to draw any cooldowns. Gangplank bringing up the minion wave in bot. They're actually looking to collapse onto Khan.
Okay, this could be 3 members. The barrels do the damage. He's trying to chunk him out, but he does go down. And again, it's a trade for 1 member, and you lose your inhibitor. We'll see if they can actually engage once again. You could see that key was there, and here comes the TP trying to come in from behind. If they could force this fight,
he's got a Nalbar as well.
Yeah, but the Rise is a little bit too far behind, and so the TP comes in, but ROX Tigers do not find the way to get that to happen.
It's so difficult to play multiple lanes against Baron on this patch with the general strength of the buff. If you try to pincer one person, you will lose your inhibitor, especially when Azir and Ashe could free hit it, and BDD gets to back off. This insanely massive minion wave in the top side to work towards his final item. So we back away, we judge where the game is at, we remember the expectations set, how strong ROX Tigers were pre-30 minutes and how Kingzone would eventually outscale them. We've reached that territory, and it's still not impossible for ROX Tigers to reach a fight. This is actually a 4-item Kog'Maw where he's still getting stronger because he went Infinity Edge rather than the on-hit build with Send and Blade the Ruin King. So some of those calculations have to be adjusted. Kog'Maw free hits, anything is possible, but the reliability of Prey free hitting is higher, therefore you worry for the side of ROX.
Someone here, the Ash Arrow is going to go wide, as even Predator used up, but in the end they cannot find the engage.
Ooh, there's crits getting there too.
Yep, the wave clear is outstanding at this point from the side of Kingzone. They find even a moment in time to try to pick off another turret, but Kingzone just laugh in their face when you're looking at Gangplank farmed up, Azir farmed up, even Ashe helping out. So here we go. Kingzone going to be moving into the top side of the map now. We'll see if the Bandit minions will help them in the push for this inner turret at least.
And Inderang's out of position because he doesn't have teleport, and they know there's Banner of Command, so he won't be there for the start. He gets a smite. Some autos coming in. Sangyun has more threat onto the Banner minion. We should mention going for the Infinity Edge build. Here we go.
There's that poke. Sangyun just a couple of auto attacks in the Q from the Azir, and immediately he's pushed out of the lane.
He has to use his QSS because he was hit by the Ash Arrow as well. So Linderang being out of position loses them an inner turret. Won't lose them an inhibitor. Pings from the side of Kingzone onto a massive group minion wave in their bot lane. Does force them to at least consider pulling away. Definitely not over just yet. Prey cooldown on the Ash Arrow. It's comically short, be up in about 15 seconds.
Okay, we're doing a little bit of a gank brush here up in the top side, but ROX not biting the bait just yet, but Lava now slowly moving up. He's out of vision though, funnily enough, just on the edge.
He knows the vision juggling here super well.
He's literally on the edge, and he's not going to bite the bait.
Living on the edge against Kingzone is usually something that is turned against you, but he lives on the razor's edge and is able to make it happen. Good knowledge there. That's a guy who spent some time playing League of Legends.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's been paying off so far. He's been part of the reason why ROX Tigers are doing better overall.
If you ask why is he not walking up there, you consider why would the Kingzone recall or go missing is to answer that minion wave. Why is the minion wave still pushing? Then you say, okay, a gank brush is actually relatively more likely now than in basically every other scenario because no one showed up bot lane.
Well, I mentioned it before, no QSS, but he gets that Arctic Assault away on the first time. So the arrow's going to be down here for just a moment.
Not stolen away, that was claimed by Prey. This game is so tense. QSS's 4 of which available. 1 turned into a Makira Scimitar, and there's the lifesteal that Kog'Maw was missing before. So suddenly the Gangplank ult threat is lower. That's an Elder Dragon is going to be burning, and that one is still 45 seconds away from the first spawn. It's a very tense game. We had kill a minute till 11 minutes. We had 11 kills at 11 minutes. Since then, we've slowed down to 31 kills in 42 minutes. But 2 big buffs coming. 3-stack Elder for the side of ROX, and a 40-plus minute Baron for Kingzone. I feel like right now we're in this weird duality that because Baron keeps scaling, I think that actually it's almost always incorrect to get an Elder unless you have, say, 4 stacks and 3 Infernals. So right now, we definitely are in a scenario where Baron is by far the superior buff. Second spawn of Elder, then everything goes out the window, but that's for now.
Well, you can see both teams are setting up for specifically the Elder Drake here, as it does just spawn up.
Linderung's teleport still about 15 seconds. Kingzone can't really command action because they don't really have anyone to Ash arrows, so that does mean that Linderung can walk up, and they have position on Elder right now. Well, we see the trade here. Kingzone walking up.
Here we go. Gonna start onto that Elder Drake, and again, they do it incredibly fast. Already down to about half health. Is it gonna come in? The arrow hits Sungyun in the front again, and it's gonna get low here. Who's gonna get it? It's gonna go over to BDD.
Of all people!
Somehow, some way, the smites are too early. No smite even comes out from Peanut, so they just run away. The highway robbery there from the side of BDD.
Desperate attempt at a re-engage coming through from Alava, who uses both summoners, because now Kingzone can control the Baron Pit with the Elder Drake buff and have the extra damage. So whatever teamfight might have worked around the Elder Dragon gets relatively less likely. They're trying to take advantage of the fact that BDD was chunked out. It's a smart move. It gets them some lane control. This game is still on a knife's edge. Wasn't looking like it early, but Kingzone giving over kills. It's allowed ROX another lease on life. They're going to start the Baron.
Here we go.
There's
again.
Huge Baron damage here.
Yeah, they saw BDD up on the top side, and they thought about it, but at the end of the day, it doesn't work out. Gorilla is actually going in alone. There's the flash, trying to get here onto the side, but a leap away from Linderung, who does have his QSS.
I believe it was just stunned up. Couldn't tell exactly how much that there was until Linderung, but it's another cooldown for the Ashe potentially to take advantage of. Push through the mid lane. They still have Elder for a minute and a half. ROX Tigers get 1 shot at this contest. Otherwise, true damage burn is going to be insane from Hurricane, Ashe, and the Azir as well. They're still camping, though. They desperately want that pick. I think they'll take Linderung even through GA.
Sungwon will always be the guy in the front. They have a nice ability to check brushes with the living artillery with the side of Kog'Maw. Don't see that all the time, but certainly helping out in this game. And so far, just 5-on-5 in the mid lane, as Sungyun getting frisky in the front, gets a couple of autos onto Prey, and all of a sudden they feel confident to move forward. Khan going down into the bottom side.
Always risky. The fight can definitely be over before the teleport channel even comes. He crashes the minion wave now. That's when ROX Tigers will move up, knowing that Gangplank will take time to get there. There's crazy damage here. How's this going to go? This is the moment.
Look at how fast that goes down. They're bringing again. Someone in the front is going to eat that arrow. So close was the hook onto Peanut, but it does not come through.
Elder still for 20 seconds, and the Baron down to 4,000.
It doesn't lease there, and so that's just going to go over to the side of Kingzone ROX. Playing with fire, and they get burned as Kingzone pick up the buff.
But you have to love that this game ends up being a puzzle. If you pause the game at 44 minutes and say, in this scenario, what do you do? I think many people would have 3 different instructions for how Kingzone plays that out. They understand that even if the Baron is started, they can cause them to delease with AoE damage, ult the choke, and mean there's no ability to get in there. Baron doesn't release that fast, and they get the Baron. They win the problem-solving party. Maybe we have to start putting these sort of League of Legends problem-solving things into the newspaper to join Sudoku and other things. But they found lethal onto the Baron, at least in that play. Really nicely done by Kingzone. They problem-solved them, and Elder stolen away that one. This time they get a Baron. Can they break the base? They have 1 inhibitor turret down, but still the problem of the QSSs and their linear initiation comp does reign supreme.
That it does, and ROX Tigers here in the jungle thinking about trying to go for a pick, but they got to get back and defend. The wave is pushing, the Bandit minion is ready.
They did ping onto Skarner. They know he's not grouped, but that's not going to mean so much.
Arrow comes in, hits Sangin in the back again. There's that damage, forced to blow the QSS once again. Hook not going to hit, and now they're going to get to work here onto this first inhibitor turret, and down should go the inhibitor as well.
Trixie the Baron minion, the Baron is doing its thing in the back line, unable to close on it, and of course Gorilla now understands that escorting the Baron even more important than escorting the Ashe. They'll back away. They haven't taken the mid lane inhibitor yet, but the damage is rolling up. Notice that Khan has gone full damage build. He now has the Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, and the Phantom Dancer. One of those crits, basically 3/4 Sangyun. So it's so difficult for ROX to play this fight.
No banner up this time. We'll see if ROX try to make a stand. You'll notice that Linderong up on the top left side. Not near the Narbar, but look at just how much the poke can do. The side of Azir, Ashe, and even just the Baroned up regular minions. And the engage is going to miss once again. So close to hitting BDD in the front line. The arrow comes through onto Lava, who looks like he's picked up a Banshee Veil. And so the second inhibitor will go down.
Khan goes for the disrespectful back. He knows there's no chance of him being taken out, but he wants 6 items. So his best Teddy impression going for the Mortal Reminder. You know it's late game when even a Gangplank is opting into armor penetration. Back away, we consider it where the game is at, and it is definitely poised on a knife edge. 100% crit Kog'Maw in the LCK. First Infinity Edge Kog'Maw build we've seen has certainly hit its stride at 20,000 plus damage earned on the Kog'Maw. Prey is playing side lanes with this Bannon. But very, very hard to break this last inhibitor. We're waiting for the desperate offense, so the desperate last engage by ROX Tigers. 30 seconds left on the Baron.
Well, this time, this outer turret, this inner one here, is going to go down without a fight. They're just going to fight near the inhibitor if they have to. We're not sitting in 8.1 anymore. This is certainly have the big ability to push in, and at least they'll get the first hook into the smite, buying some time, but it feels like just a matter of time for Kingzone to push this one in.
Do remember that that Banon minion was placed much earlier, so the cooldown will be off in a minion wave, I would argue, but the Baron buff will just now expire, so the game is closer than it may appear. 9,000 gold, but we're getting at 6 items for most carries, so gold starts to become irrelevant. Scaling advantage with Kingzone, but actually forcing something difficult with their comp and the QSSs. They get a Banshee Veil, they poke away the Sejuani passive, but other than that, there's the hook.
They got Peanut in the front, but Gorilla is going to be able to get himself out of harm's way and devour him up. And so at least the Cannon Barrage comes in. Perhaps this will be the moment for Kingzone to push in.
They're trying to tank it up, but this has an element of risk. Minion wave a little far away. They want to all in on this minion wave, but ROX Tigers know that. So many things crashing at one time. Another one of these puzzles. How does ROX Tigers stop this going down?
The arrow in the front just trying to buy some time. The slow onto Gorilla. Kingzone really have to be careful about this. We're getting late enough in the game. 50 minutes about to ping here. While the Gathering Storm user is going to be pretty happy, but it does mean that if anyone on the side of a team goes down, that could lead to a snowball of many members and eventually perhaps the game. So you got to be really careful about diving here.
Well, BDD listened to what you said, ignored it, and has gone Zonia's as a rejiggered last item to look for an all-in play on the Azir. If someone's going to initiate, it may have to be the Azir, who isn't going to be answered by a QSS. Looking at the information here, reminding you guys that second Elder spawns in 40 seconds and is basically a game winner. The 100% buffs won't really matter on the Ocean and the Cloud, but the extra flat and scaling on the true damage is just insane. So the setup there does require ROX Tigers to move forward. Can they find a way for Sangyun over a wall to press W and kill 3 people? He is 100% crit Kog'Maw. It can definitely happen.
Certainly can. While that Elder is about to spawn here, Prey, he went back, sold his boots, picked up a Trinity Force, because at this point, why not? Khan doing the same, rocking 6 items, and this is going to be the big fight, guys. The inhibitors are down, but ROX Tigers as 5 are moving in towards the Elder Drake. They want to go for this, or at least deny it for as long as possible. And here we go.
It'll take them a while because Sangyun is the last person to get there. Gorilla trying to help positioning. Notice that Ashe isn't there, and that is information available to ROX. They stay leashed on this, and Prey is taking a very defensive route to get to his team. Key trying to intercept or at least get information on Prey. He'll see him in vision now.
Okay, it's going to be leased. They're moving on to it. It may come down to a smite fight. It's so tense. Cannon is going to come in. Peanut with the hook, but someone in the front.
He got it!
This time he finally gets into the huge ultimate from Linderong, but he immediately goes down. Songyun is getting free hitting in the back, but eventually the Sejuani dies, and so does Linderong. That's going to be 2 members. Even with this Elder Drake, it doesn't look like they can hold.
Teleport from Khan trying to bring up a minion wave. Songyun was alive.
But
he turns around, and he does a lot of damage. Does it matter, though?
He's trying to 1v4. Can he do it is the question. Khan in the front, the barrel's doing the damage, but Ryze has got damage too. In comes this bannered up regular melee minion. Can they finish this off with this push is the real question.
Still 40 seconds on Nara and Sejuani. Surely this is the time.
Surely it is. The arrow's gonna come in. Lava, but the one hit, the one crit from the side of
burn as
Songyun.
well.
It's so scary. It's really all up to Songyun in the front line. But now he doesn't have a front line. Finally, Lava and Key making it back, and they decide that they can't go for it. They're going to take this inhibitor and back off. The game is not done, Papa.
They cannot answer the range of the 100% crit. Elder Dragon buffed up. Hurricane. Problem is, can't do it. Baron is much safer for them. They turn onto the Baron. They cannot close this time. But the Baron damage, there was a Baron. He doesn't get a eulogy. He's just dead.
He's done, and here now at 53 minutes, everybody on the Rift is nearing 6 items, or has gotten there yet, maybe just not the supports, and the camera's on Songyun, and for a good reason. We got a minute left on the Elder Drake, and he's even got red buff. Can he hold this team together is the real question.
They need to wait out Elder, because Elder makes him even more comically powerful
Elder
than a
in red.
6. Holy crap, that was a 1,842 damage crit. What? Okay, just calm down, Khan. That was insane. Khan doesn't want to face check that.
Oh, okay, well, there was the Tom Kent's right next to him, so, and he is GP. But either way, anytime you engage, it feels like the game could end on that one engage.
And remember this game, these people are getting stronger. You usually say, 6 items, it's over. Second Elder buff is going to be online again when it respawns. 18 seconds, they have to wait for that one out. Remember that Gathering Storm is on at least the 80 carries, probably more members of both teams. And that has that crazy logarithmic scaling by the time it gets to the higher numbers. You get to comical numbers of AD and AP. So the numbers will continue to get bigger. Watching here, they really want to go tutorial because they already have 2 inhibitors down.
Okay, finally the hook comes in with the smite. But now that the smite is going to be down for a while, you can see that finally they're beginning to chip away at this final inhibitor turret. And trying to poke all the while, but never keep your eyes off of Songyun. He's going to be the real key for the side of ROX to be doing that damage. Lava as the key support to help out with that, but with the Baron buff and 2 minutes left on it, this push, can Kingzone push it in? The hook is down.
Minion wave is crashing in topside, so many things to respect.
Oh, finally he gets one more auto.
Not often is 600 range Ashe zoned away from an auto. She finally gets it.
Looks like we're looking at potentially that final one in. He gets the ultimate in the back line for a nice slow. Songyun trying to do the damage to Peanut in the front line, who has been chunked down a little bit, but once again with the Baron buff. God, this game is so tense.
Could definitely be decided. 2 more kills and it could go one way or the other. No threat onto Songyun. Massive beefy tanks in front of him. But they zone with barrel damage. They disengage. They want to take 3 inhibitors again. An inhibitor respawn coming in just about a minute and a half. Thanks SpoTV for that one. But the minion waves crashing at the same time is actually going to be something that's denied from the side of Kingzone. The base defense is not reaching iPhone game levels of crazy just yet, so game will delay, guys. 60 minutes to dream, even on patch 8.4. Korea started off with a fiesta, turning it into a very extended game. And Kingzone back away knowing that they still can't close the game yet.
Gotta hand it to ROX Tigers, even though they had a couple of mistakes in the mid-game to give Kingzone back the advantage. They're sticking in this one, even down to picking off the second Elder, denying that subsequent buff, and then just going 3v5 and keeping themselves alive just for now. Even though they don't have any inhibitors, they still have 2 Nexus turrets and a Dream, Papa.
And now we get to the fun case where you get the I'm taking a multiple choice exam and overthinking situation where you have so much gold that you're like, maybe Oblivion, maybe going into Spellbinder on Rise's time now, maybe this is the moment. That's not going to be the moment to end the game, but there's so much gold that selling and rebuying and selling items becomes common, and the right combination is always open to scenarios. Rise with Spellbinder has happened a couple of times in Korea.
You mentioned waves pushing in at the same time. Now with the Baron buff down, it's going to be a lot harder to do that. And if you have Rise and Kog'Maw farmed up this much, you just go to the, okay, I'm going to hold that thought. They're going to engage. They get Prey, but the Devourer comes in. Oh, Khan trying to get in the back, but the Megadhar's a little bit late there. Khan, though, he disappears. Songyun is popping off. They're moving forward, and ROX is trying to take the victory here. The Realm Warp, they want to get onto the back line, but there it is, trying to fight back, and Lava getting low too. Songyun, though, is still alive. Keep your eyes on him. They're trying to get into the back line. Peanut's going to go down. The Devourer's not enough, and he takes out two. Prey's still alive somehow, and the game is not over. Linderong had to go back to base to save it, and somehow it's only Prey. Nexus turrets are falling. What is this game?
Kingzone kept fighting because of the Minions. There was 3 inhibitors down at the start of that play. Minion wave in bot lane pushing in. Kept them accountable, but Peanut and Gorilla knew they were running in to die. There was no threat onto Songyun at all. We take a deep breath. We enjoy the fact that the last fight that we alluded to 20 minutes ago has never happened because we're still fighting. They get onto Prey, but Gorilla able to get around. You see Linderong's Narborough, you think this is the moment, but he's altered away. Linderong can't get massive value. Kog'Maw free hitting takes down Khan, who dies with his flash and teleport because damage calculation against 100% crit Kog'Maw is going to be off. And this is Kingzone realizing we're not going to back away after those 2 kills. The minions might actually get the job done, and there's no way for Linderong to join.
These are the games where men are born, boys turn into men, just 3-shotting literally anyone that's in the front line who hasn't built full tank. You see multiple flashes as the auto attack is traveling in the air and they die anyway. Happen to Lava there right at the end. It's really hard. It happens in a split second, and the decision-making in that moment is really going to determine who wins the game.
So the audience out there wants to know, what does it mean? And one of the things to take away that you should keep your eyes on, Songyun's summoners are down. Prey kept Flash through all of that craziness. Could be very relevant if there's a fight, and there will be. The Elder is respawned. We're getting a 3rd Elder Dragon on patch 8.4. The Baron, I believe it's the 4th,
Insane.
might be the 5th. I might be losing my mind right now. Will be spawning as well. So there's a lot to keep track of, but Kog'Maw not having Flash means the right ultimate coming through from even the Gangplank will instantly draw a Locket, and from there, if the Kog'Maw dies or if the Ashe dies, the team fight is over.
Okay. We are nearing 60 minutes. Once again, the Gathering Storm has to be mentioned.
687 AP onto the Azir. We'll wait and see if that number jumps up. Have to imagine the Kog'Maw has it as well. We may still have the fight before the proc even comes. 20 seconds till that.
Here we go. They're going to start it up, but the barrel in the front line, Key and Sungwon, already taking some damage.
But the Elder is so tanky, they can't rush it down by any means.
Yeah, they're trying to start it up here. It's going to continue being leashed.
690 AP. Watching the Azir here. Going to be that proc now. Does he have it? The answer is no. He does not have Gathering Storm.
Ooh.
Is there on the Ashe, like we said.
Yeah, probably took Scorch for the lane. Here we go. They're going to be bursting it down. Khan from behind. The barrel does not go off. They're going to pull Sungwon here. Do they have enough damage? He's going to run away. Finally. But here's Linderong trying to get onto Khan now in the top side, though. Sungwon getting low.
They don't kill Sungwon.
They don't kill Sungwon. And Khan goes down. It's 5-on-4. ROX Tigers. Will they fight for this? They got a lot of low members, but the Elder Dragon going to leash once again.
More cooldowns used by ROX, but more members of ROX means that Kingzone surely have to back away. You're never 100% sure. Songyun is having a free meal ticket on this Elder as Kingzone decide they want to take Baron as an answer.
Well, let's see if they can do it fast enough.
Lava
Look at
knows.
Lava. He's sprinting to the Baron. He's got his Nikes on. Keep in mind,
big minion waves.
The minion waves in top and bottom right now.
Another
are
one
in.
of those moments, Valdez. What do you do? They look to contest.
5-minute Elder. It's going to get low. It's going to go over to BDD. Gorilla might just have to give his life for it. Looks like that's going to be the answer with the Realm Orb. Lava and Key. A big mistake. 2 members go down to the front line. They still have the Elder, but look at the minion waves pushing in. They've got Baron too.
It's insane stuff for Kingzone. Really big mistake from ROX Tigers. You cannot go in the back line against Azir Ashe. Are you kidding me? At 60 minutes, they will lose the inhibitor again. Kingzone walk in. We still are not clear if they will win the game, but Khan has teleport in 10 seconds.
That's the question. Take a look at that Nexus turret. That's all they've got at this point. That and the Nexus health. Can ROX Tigers hold this is the big question. I mentioned it before, this damage happens in a millisecond, so you cannot make any mistakes like the side of ROX Tigers did.
Remember, the Elder buff does buff up this combo even further.
Look at that damage on the BDD in the back line. He's incredibly low. With the barrel and the cannon barrage.
He's gonna die. No!
Auto. He stays alive, but will it matter? They're chipping away at the Nexus, and finally Prey wants to do it here. The stun trying to come in, but he gets it. GG as finally Kingzone in 62 minutes take the game.
It turns out there is a way to go to a third Elder Dragon buff. They got all 3 and lost the game anyway. Did ROX Tigers. One mistake will always separate you, and the Realm Warp into the back line was a disaster for the side of the Rise and the Thresh. They go down, Khan's teleport comes in, and they win the game. Still 60 minutes to dream here in the LCK. It's not 94, but it felt like 94. We had kill a minute till 11 minutes in the game, and still we had 49 minutes more of action. Kingzone will go back, and their coach will say the early game was the problem. They were unsociable. They made too many mistakes around the early to mid game, which allowed it to go this late. But ROX Tigers will be devastated. They are still in with that shot to make it to playoffs, and even a game win can matter when game score could be all the difference between 5th and 6th and playoffs and watching on as other teams go forward.
You can see they're nearly dumbfounded after a game like that. Linderong thinking about what went wrong. A pretty obvious one with the Realm Warp towards the end, but again, you can't expect these guys to be perfect. And Riot with the fantastic timing, must-watch games. You guys just watched one. You were here to witness this game happen.
So let's watch what happens here. Kingzone do have the damage taken down. Someone gets in the pit. He was half a second slow to get the smite because Skarner wasn't in range to smite. Ooh. But this is when you get too excited. This is when you go into the back line against Azir Ashe with Baron, 6 items, Gathering Storm. That was the critical mistake. Feels so bad to criticize someone after 61 minutes of smart play.
It's hard. You got to have the stamina to make the correct decisions, even down to the last minute. And if that doesn't happen, the game continues, and who knows who would have won. But either way, guys, we have more games on the way after a 10-minute break. Game 2 coming up.